Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Stuttering Through Life, the podcast that's all about stuttering. I'm your host, Young Lee, and today we have a very special guest here with us, Sophie Tabrizi. Hi, Sophie.
What's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's great to have you. So I actually met Sophie at a stuttering conference many years ago, but we never really got to talk until now, and I'm so glad that I did. Your journey and the things that you've done are all so inspiring and impressive, and I'm so glad you can tell us about it here.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to share my journey.
So yeah, speaking of which, can you tell us about your journey with stuttering so far?
Yeah, of course. So as I remember, I started stuttering when I was around 6 years old, and it was when I was 6. Stuttering wasn't really like a topic of discussion. Sure, I went to like speech therapy. That's like the common protocol and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
But like when I got into a middle school, that's when stuttering really made an impact on my life. And I really feel like stuttering kind of gave me a new perspective on communication. And so when I was 10 years old, I started to go see my speech therapist, Loryn, and she is the most amazing human. I mean,
I totally agree.
she's incredible, and she is truly the person who 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 taught me how to embrace my stutter rather than either either like hide it. So she was a huge part of my acceptance journey. And another major part was going to Friends, which is a national stuttering conference every summer. And those are two like factors definitely allowed me to recognize stuttering's not that bad. I mean, like, obviously communication is difficult at times, but stuttering's just a part of my life. It doesn't define my journey. It's just a part of my journey, and I'm a very proud to say that I'm a person who stutters.
Yeah, it's great how you've accepted stuttering as a part of yourself, which I know is like really hard to do for some people, but it's true. It really doesn't define your journey or your life in any way. And if anything, I feel like it makes us more I feel like it makes us better people in a way because we've gone through something that most people never go through and we've experienced a lot of things.
Yes, 1000% agree on that.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, the reason Sophie and I were able to meet is because we went to the same speech therapist. I interviewed Loryn in episode 5, and I highly recommend you go check out that episode if you haven't already. So, Sophie, I know you went to some speech therapists before Loryn, right?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
Right. So, what was it like working with Loryn, and how do you think it changed your outlook on stuttering?
Yeah, of course. So prior to going to see Loryn, I was used to uh to like hearing speech therapists with a fixing model. Oh, like your stutter can be eliminated through this method and like that kind of stuff. And it kind of gave me false hope within a sense.
Mhm.
And then Loryn came along,
Yeah.
and like being a 10 being a 10-year-old girl, I was in the midst of like middle school, going through puberty, going through like huge changes, and like Loryn was like the person that was like, hey Sophie, like you know, um getting rid of your stutters a false hope. I can give you the tools and the resources that will like allow you to speak confidently with a stutter, and no matter the fluency levels. And I think that perspective of like the not not like fixing model really shed a major light, because I feel like the field of speech therapy is about fixing, and I feel like you can't really fix a stutter. You can
Yeah.
give someone the tools to speak proudly and like, yes, like I stutter, but you can't really control it at times. And like for me, I think of my stutter like a roller coaster, like like some days it's I'm I'm a perfectly fluent. Other days I'm like, oh my gosh, like my stutter is not giving me like a break. But that's a part of life, and I feel like the support that I have from Loryn, my friends, my family, that's really like allowed me to to be successful through that journey.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to find Lauren, because um a lot of people I've spoken to, this a lot of speech therapists they've gone to, they have that same fixing model. And some speech therapists, like at schools, some of them aren't professionals in stuttering, right? So it's hard to help kids that stutter and help them to make the most out of it. So yeah, so I'm glad Lauren could help all these people with like their outlook.
Very true.
So when you spoke about your journey, you mentioned how the conference Friends was a really big influence on your um accept- acceptance journey. And I totally relate to that, because like I've said before, I remember my first Friends conference, and it just opened my eyes to like a whole new world of the stuttering co- community. And that was actually the first place I saw you, right? You were 15, and I was 11, and it was the first conference I've been to. And it was a huge conference for young people who stutter. And I remember that at that conference, in like the opening ceremony kind of thing, even at such a young age, you gave this speech to a huge audience of people, and you looked so comfortable and so confident. And I remember listening to you and thinking like, wow, I would never be able to do that. And you seem so brave. And recently, after we talked, I found out that you were the sole reason I was able to attend Friends um, on the West Coast. So, what led you to those events?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Well, thank you so much for those like kind words. I
Of
mean,
course.
that truly means a lot to me. I mean,
Mhm.
getting on a stage in front of like hundreds of like people isn't easy generally.
For
And
sure.
someone for someone who who like stutters, I mean, it was scary, but it kind of eased my nerves a little bit that I was talking to a group of a group that was accepting and like valuing of like someone's differences. So
For sure.
yes, I love that. So basically my journey of like friends was amazing. So I started going to the National Friends Conference when I was 10 years old, like I said previously.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first conference was in Tampa Bay, Florida. And I walked in to like an embassy suite, and I see this this like huge group of the people, and they were probably around their like mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I was a young teen at that time, so I was like, wow, like these people are so cool, and like whatever.
Yeah.
So this guy named Danny, he came up to me, and he like introduced himself, and that moment, it was probably one of the first times that I've ever met an adult who like stutters. And I was like, wow, I can do anything that I put my like mind to.
Very true.
And that was like such a great moment, because prior to the conference, I was like, wow, like I really feel like alone. And so I think it was that like second day, I met like a group of like friends like age, and we called ourselves the 4 peas in a pod.
Oh, that's so cute.
It was the most amazing opportunity. And so I think I was 12 years old, and I was like, wait, Loryn, why isn't there like any stuttering conferences on the West Coast? And so that was in, I don't even know what year, but I was around 12, and she was like, I don't know, Sophie. You tell me. And so I brought the idea to like Loryn, and she was like, Sophie, let's make this like happen. And so I mean, like, obviously Loryn's gonna work her magical powers.
Yeah. And she did.
She really did. And so I like to think of like myself as like the vision, and like she brought it to life. And so Friends West was like brought to California, and I was 13 years old when that first conference happened. And I remember getting up on the Chapman stage.
Yeah.
And I was terrified, because imagine like a 12-year-old girl, or like a 13-year-old girl, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what do I say? Like there's people looking directly at me, and kind of terrifying, but that's okay. We got through it. And that was just, I think that was kind of one of the like other turning points in my journey.
Right.
I realized that the stuttering community is so small. We have to like stick to together and really encourage one another to go out of our comfort zones and embrace stuttering, because the brutal reality is society is not familiar with like stuttering,
Yeah.
which is very unfortunate, but that's a part of life. And the more we speak, the more we like educate, and the more we like educate, the more included we will be. And so that was kind of like my like educational turning point. And so from that point up point on, my friend's West took place, with the exception of like 2 years. But yeah, it was an amazing journey.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time hearing about that and I was like, what? You did what when you were like 11, 12? And it was so impressive. It was insane. Yeah. And what you said just now, that is the truth right there. And that is basically the crux of like why I wanted to start this podcast, because like you said, there are so many people out there that literally don't even know what stuttering is, and that it's a thing that happens to people consistently, not just like, oh, I like tripped on my tongue or something. And yeah, and like you said, the more we talk and the more we educate people and we the more we tell people that we stutter and what it is, I really think that one day it'll be so widespread that everyone will know about it, and yeah, life is going to be a lot easier and a lot better.
That is the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the goal.
Yeah, and I really wish that I could have gone to more conferences, like more Southern conferences and more Friends conferences before COVID shut it all down. But there's still virtual things going on, right? Just for groups of all ages. Yeah. So um if you're just hearing about this and you're interested in meeting with other people who stutter and professionals in the area, there are so many groups that hold virtual sessions and virtual meetings where you can just talk. And I highly recommend it, because it seems like such a big turning point for so many people who stutter, because like you said, I feel like there's a feeling of aloneness for a lot of people who stutter, because just there weren't that many people who stuttered around me, just like a couple. So it's really great to see the community bonding together and being able to share stories and stuff.
Yeah, and like we have to like think about like support groups. They're the best. Like no matter the this the support group, it's like you're relating on a certain topic, and that like topic is like no matter what it is, it's gonna change your life. And like even a simple conversation like this, like hearing your story previously, just like totally touched me. And I think that I really believe it's like the power of like reaching out and be like, hey, like let's like share stories, because like that is the kind of a community where we like want. And like for me personally, like having that support system is like the reason why I'm so confident.
Yeah, me too. I was really lucky to have like two really supportive parents who who helped me, and like Loryn too, she was an amazing speech therapist, and my friends were really accepting too. So it's really important to form that tight support system, like you said. Right. Okay, well, this is gonna be well, we'll keep it short for this episode here, so this is going to be the end, but there will be a part 2 out very soon. In part in part 2, we're going to talk about Sophie's experience in higher education, and we'll focus more on her current life and what she's been doing more recently, which is just as interesting, if not more, than this episode. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And before we go, really quick, in the realm of Stuttering Through Life updates, this podcast now has a website. The link is in the description of this episode, as well as in the description of my podcast. It was made with a site called Podpage, and this isn't sponsored, but if you want a website for your podcast, I would highly recommend Podpage. Everything was so easy to make, and you can customize pretty much everything. As always, thank you for listening, and Sophie, thank you for talking with me.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Of course. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.